Alrighty, Mr. Gatekeeper here. I usually do this for Vilds, but this turned out so good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and light up a celebration cigarette. Alrighty. Shout out to Mr. Chris for that cat picking thing right there. That thing's so big, man. Alrighty. What we got here is actually a 667 Texas Star DX667V. That's what this was before I got the hold to it. This was one of the newer hybrid style Texas Stars with all DEI transistors and 2 IRF 520 MOSFETs as the driver. Mr. LM man. Appreciate your patience, brother. He basically was using this amplifier as, I guess you can say, long transmissions. Let's just put it that way. So he put it to a good test. He put it to a real good test, and it eventually failed, but it lasted him a while. It lasted him a pretty good little while before it failed, and I don't think he really was ever truly happy with it. I think somebody else had done a little bit of work to it before to try and get it right or whatever. I don't know exactly what the story is right off the top of my head, but he basically sent it up here and said he wanted to convert it over to a Texas Star DX500V to keep the variable, and he wanted 4 brand new Toshibas. So that's what we done. I actually was lucky enough to have 4 brand new Toshibas left out of a 16 transistor amp that I took the transistors out of that was brand new. So he was lucky enough to be able to get them at a discounted price, just at the right place at the right time. Mr. LM, man, done a little bit of work to this before he sent it up here. He done a power wire upgrade to it. And about the only thing I did to the power wire upgrade, I unsoldered everything, okay? And unsoldered everything, just resoldered the tips of the wires, and put some heat shrink there. You know, they get kind of hot, and the insulation likes to melt back a little bit. So just to be safe, I'd put the heat shrink on there, man, and put a bead on each one, so we can at least have some ferrite there before. Well, you really don't need it because since we got this now, but I went ahead and done it anyway just to be safe. And as you can see, man, we got some strain relief connectors back here for you. And I went ahead and capped off the holes. Went ahead and took the keyer, the mono 1/4 inch plug or whatever, went ahead and took that out and plugged that up for you too. Okay. So, we did a full conversion from a 667V over to a 500, and this is the first conversion that I have done. I have done a conversion from a 500 to a 667 before, and I don't have a video on that one either. That was done a while ago. So it was pretty neat to be able to do this and add something new to the old archive of videos. So, and there was also some repairs needing to be done as well. There was 2 of the DEIs that were blown in one section, which you don't see that much. Usually you'll have 1 blow out of a section, but not 2. I think a lot of that could possibly be because of the bias being blown out. This right here is a 10 UA choke, a micro Henry. I think it's a micro Henry if I'm correct. I could be wrong about that. It's either a micro Henry but anyway, it's a 10 UA choke or AU. Sorry, y'all, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't deal with micro Henrys a lot, so I can't keep that fresh on my mind. But it is a 10, either UA or AU. It's one of the two, y'all. This was blown out. This one seemed to be fine, but I went ahead and replaced it anyway. I like to do that. If I ever replace one, I replace both of them. Okay, so I went ahead and replaced that. That was blown out, and there was no active biasing going on to the base of the transistors. So that might have something to do with it, possibly. You also had a dead short going on. But let me correct myself. You would think that that possibly is what killed the transistors, but the blown transistors were over here, not right here. And the dead short was over here, but the dead short was kind of one of those type of dead shorts. The second a little bit of pressure was pushed on the board, it would short. Just a little bit of pressure. And I've seen that happen a lot on 400s, 500s, 667s. A lot over here at this portion, because up underneath the board, there's a little place where solder can drip down through the holes, and there's also a little place that's under there already that can be touching the bottom of the board. I mean the bottom of the frame here, and can ground out and take them transistors out real quick. So I went ahead and fixed that for you, man, because I'm talking about just a little bit of pressure, and it was a dead short. So went ahead and fixed that for you. And as you can see, I went ahead and carried on the power wire upgrade and done something that I have not done yet to a Texas Star, and did pretty much what they call the B plus mod. The B plus mod. And all that's doing is this just taking, instead of having one, let's see. You know what? That's the only parts I don't have over here is the chokes. I think I already put them in my little choke bag I collect. I collect these little chokes from Texas Stars, and I'll use them on wires and stuff. So there, I think that's the only thing I don't have here is your old chokes. But anyway, it's like a 22 gauge wire, solid wire. And instead of having a 22 gauge solid wire hooked to the back of the transformer going to the collector of each transistor, you now have two 16 gauge wires. That's what I use with this. Sometimes I'll use 14, but you got two 16 gauge wires now feeding 16 to each transistor. So that beefs up the current capability, and you have a possibility of it running a little bit cooler and possibly getting a little bit more current that way. So I went ahead and did that on both of yours. I have not yet done that. I don't think, at the top of my head, I don't think I have yet on the Texas Star. So that's pretty new, man. Pretty cool, man. I like that. Looks neat, nice at least, right? So just pretty much did what you would have to do if you did a conversion, man. Took your driver section out, which is right there. Took the 20 ohm out, and we dropped the 200 ohm in, which is what is required. 250 ohm, excuse me. 250 ohm in, which is what is required. There's your choke that was blown. I did find that in the bag. We were talking last night. I couldn't remember if that thing was blown or not. I had actually replaced it a while ago. And set your box to the side or something and picked it back up. So I had forgot about that. But basically, these are resistors right here that has to be took out for the conversion. Got you a 10 ohm right here. And basically all you're doing when you do this is you're rerouting the RF. As you can see, the way I've done this right here and over here, you're just rerouting the RF and getting it set up for that, because it's no longer going to a driver section anymore. And I had to add this piece of RG316 50 ohm coax into the mix, and that's taking it basically from the variable over to the input splitter, which is right here. And I had to change that capacitor right there. I think it was a 390 to begin with, changes to a 330 picofarad. And the output cap stays the same. That's 100 picofarad. I've had a couple of people ask me too, what size metal is this on the output? See if I can get something to point with. This metal right there. Right there. That metal clad right there. That is 100 picofarad metal. You'll see in the schematics it calls for a 91 picofarad, but they just went ahead and used 100 quite a few years back. Another thing I noticed, I'm guessing a bulb blew or something right here. Okay, and this right here was soldered in place and had a piece of Scotch tape wrapped around it, which wasn't too good. These things do get hot. So what I went ahead and did for you there, I could have grabbed another bulb out. I don't have too many of these bulbs because these are newer type bulbs since they've upgraded these switches, or some people would say downgrade. But so what I did is I took the bulb out of your transmit light, and moved it right here, and I done something pretty cool for you on the transmit, which I'll show you here in a minute. We got a blue LED actually inside. This is a little mod that I tried one time back, I don't know, maybe about a half a year ago, and it turned out great. So we done it for you, my friend, and it turned out pretty good. So this thing's gonna glow up blue for you, man. Because if you just put a couple LEDs outside right here, they really don't get into the actual casing and light it up real good for you. I think it's just all about the color. You know, a white does, but other colors like blue don't. I've even put up the 8 or 9 LEDs right here before, and you know, it just doesn't hardly get through there fine. But doing it like this, it gets through there just perfectly. So I've got that done for you, man. Got you a custom light on there. And the only other thing you had to do really is change the bias resistors here. If this was a, let's see. Well, sometimes they'll use a 1.6 ohm, and if they do that, you have to change them out. Well, luckily we didn't have to change them out on this. And also, if this was an older style 667, you would have to change out I think it's a 2.3 or 2.8 ohm, which is basically what that's doing. That's biasing the 2 transistors in this section along with the driver together, and that's kind of even everything out for the bias there on the voltage divider circuit there. But that wasn't the case here, since we had the MOSFETs. Each section has its own bias section, which is right here, the sandbars right here, the 25 ohm sandbars. Each of them have their own biasing section, unregulated biasing section, and then the driver does too. Okay, and that's what this is right here. That's the biasing section for the driver. It feeds to that 1K ohm to the, I want to say it's the gate. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I haven't memorized the MOSFETs that much. I haven't played around with them a whole lot. So anyway, man, we got this thing done for you, man, and she's working real well. So we'll go ahead and do a output test on it now. And I don't think I left anything out for you. If I did, I'm sure to come to me. I think we got everything covered, man. So we'll put all them parts in the bag right there. And these 2 good DEIs, I'm always willing to take off the price of the repair. Always, for good transistors, man, because shoot, man, you never know when you might need one for a repair or something. So we'll talk about that, man, and see if you want to get this right here and take it off the final price of the repair. And that's the way I do things around here, man. Try to keep everything straight as an arrow. All right, I'm gonna press pause and get everything hooked up on here, man. And we'll hook it up, and we're gonna hit it with the bench radio first, and we're gonna hook the little driver up to this thing too, since now it's a straight 4. We'll be right back. All right, brother. We got it hooked up to the 100 amp unregulated supply. And it's going to drop to a good working voltage. It's floating at 18.3. Another thing, usually these lamps that Texas Star use, they're 18-volt lamps. So there is a way that you can run Texas Star, certain Texas Stars on an unregulated supply if you match it up right to it. So the floating voltage are not going to damage the lamps. So that is a good thing. I had a guy or two ask me about that too with Texas Stars, but it's always best to use a regulated if you're able to. And I am going to be working on getting me a good big regulated supply, because I need one pretty bad. So I need to find me some time to construct me one. But anyway, so we're just going to hit it with the 4-watt RMS radio first, because Texas Star pretty much advertises that you should at least get 500 watts out of a 4-watt radio. That's what you're supposed to be able to do. A 667 is supposed to be able to get 667 watts out of a 4-watt radio. That's why they're named what they're named. A 350 should get 350 watts PEP out of a 4-watt radio. Okay, and they got your input paddings and all that good stuff. We're just gonna run this bad boy on high so you can see what it's doing on the max end. That's what most of the time the videos are being shown is for max end usually. But we're going to run it with the bench radio first. That made my mind up. I might hook the hot radio up and burp it one time for you. But yeah, so here we go, man. This is without the driver. The driver is turned off, okay? So this is just with the 4-watt radio. Okay. All right, we got the 1,000-watt slug in, RMS. Ooh, yeah. It's about 180 watts RMS. Here's your peak. Oh, yeah. Right there at 500 watts. Okay. You're dropping to 14.9 volts. So we're already getting the 500 watts out of it that it should be getting. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you. Here's your little meter, man. Oh yeah. We got that thing lighting up blue for you now. Oh yeah. Alrighty. Let's turn this driver on. I could hit it with a hot radio just with this, but we'll just do it like this for now. We're going to turn the driver on. Okay. Let's turn the power on the driver. Let's turn this off. Alright. We're going to show you what the driver's doing. This is the old Poxy 1 pill, first build I ever did. 128.79. Oh yeah, about 40 bird. Peak, oh, about 100 watts. Okay, we're looking at the bottom scale since we're on the 1,000-watt scale. It's a good idea if you're ever running a driver into a Texas Star. It's best to run it with the green button out. Now, some of these Texas Stars with a green button out, you're swinging backwards because a lot of them are set up to where they're kind of designed to only run with the green button out at a 4-watt radio. I'm talking about 4-watt swing radio. Okay, and a lot of times when that's like that, I'll have to add another 75 ohm padding resistor into the mix. So, but this one is not like that. This one has a good low dead key on high. Okay, so that's good to go with that. And I did forget to show the input reflect, didn't I? Let's turn this off. Alright. I got my phone plugged up to the charger here because it's about to die. I'm going to hold it right here. Let it... Here's your input reflect. Do yeah. Do yeah. So right there about 1/4 of a watt, which is just fine. You will notice that with these Texas Stars. They all have a little bit of reflect usually on the input, but sometimes they don't. Alright. Driver on. RMS. Do right there about 280 watts RMS. And that's dropping to almost 13 volts. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this thing on the high real quick. Do right there about 350 watts RMS. Let's go ahead and take a look at the peak. Do 1,000 in the corner. 1,000 watts in the corner. And I forgot to show the peak on the medium. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to flip it back on the medium tap. Okay. Driver still on. We're going to show the peak on the medium tap. Go. Let's turn the box back on. Sorry about that. Go 800 watts, okay? This box is working absolutely beautiful. Can we get 400 bird out of this amplifier? I don't see why not. Do you want me to hook the hot radio up, Mr. LM man? I'm taking a wild guess as I don't think he would mind, so I'll be right back. Alright, we got the old hot radio hooked up, Stickman modified Cobra 29. Voltage in this power supply is turned down to make it do exactly double of what my bench radio does. So it's 8 watts RMS in. Into the driver, that's giving us a little bit more RMS. Ooh, yeah, maybe about 50, possibly 60, it's hard to tell. That's real small for a 1,000-watt slug. Ooh, it's showing about 120. on the peak. But, you know, we're not too worried about peak. What we're worried about is RMS. That's what makes the other person's meter move out there in DX land. Alright, we just want to do a quick burp. Everything's all the way up. Flip it over here to the high tap. Driver's on 14.5 volts. Let's see what we can get out of it. Ooh. Damn! Woo! Up 450 RMS, brother. Good God the money. Here comes the disclaimer. Never run it like that. Never ever run it like that. This is an unregulated quotation, unregulated quotation, AB bias circuit in this amp. Do not run your Texas Star like that. That's way too much excess drive, way too much voltage. I didn't look at the voltmeter over there when I did it. I'm just doing a quick burp, just so you can see that the gain is working properly, and this bad boy just showed right there about 450 RMS. That lets you know everything in this thing's working properly, or it would not do that. Mr. LM man, thank you for your patience, man. I'm glad this thing's working good, brother. Got you a nice 500 you can start running now. I think he's going to be putting it in the Mobile or something. Hope it lasts a long time for you. Your friend, Mr. Gatekeeper, out here around the northeast end of Georgia. On to the next one, 73rds.